Hello, I'm just a politician, and today we're breaking down what's really going on in Minnesota and why it's become a flashpoint in the national conversation about ICE, immigration, and protest movements. This whole situation starts when there was allegations of large-scale fraud in Minnesota, particularly involving daycare centers. One case that gained widespread attention online involved a facility known as the Leering Center, which was learning spelt wrong. This situation went viral because of Nick Shirley highlighting what he claimed was a major scam. This investigation showed that instead of focusing on education, these daycare centers were allegedly involved in fraudulent activity, sparking outrage and drawing increased scrutiny from both state and federal authorities. As federal investigations expanded, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, became more visible in Minnesota. ICE operates under the federal law enforcement umbrella, and its current director, Todd M. Lyons. This increased presence quickly became controversial, especially in a state like Minnesota, which is widely considered a blue state and generally aligns more closely with Democratic policies, including more critical views on ICE. You may be asking, why did Minnesota become the center of all these protests? Many argue because it's the alleged fraud cases led to the heightened law enforcement activity, which in turn intensified fear and tension within immigrant communities. That tension didn't stay local, it spilled into the streets. Protests against ICE surged, particularly after the fraud investigations. Minnesota became the ground zero for demonstrations that would soon spread nationwide. Now, what pushed these protests in the national headlines were the deaths of Renee Good and more recently Alex Preddy. In both cases, ICE agents have stated the actions were taken in self defense, but these claims remain heavily debated by activists, legal experts, and federal officials. These incidents reignited long-standing concerns about accountability, use of force, and the role of federal immigration enforcement. Following these events, protests spread far beyond Minnesota. Demonstrations began appearing across the United States on college campuses and high schools and even some middle schools, with both students and adults organizing under what they see as their First Amendment right. One common item used amongst protesters is the whistle. Whistles are used as warnings meant to alert undocumented immigrants to leave an area if ICE is nearby. To others, particularly law enforcement, these whistles are used as tools used by agitators, potentially interfering with active investigations and escalating tensions between protesters and ICE agents. So, in simple terms, Minnesota has become a focal point for large-scale protests against ICE rooted in fear following alleged fraud investigations and fueled by tragic deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. What began as a local issue has evolved into a national movement, raising questions about immigration enforcement, civil liberties, and federal power. But I'm just a politician. Thank you for watching.